Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about my draft strategy in a 12-team league from the third overall spot. But before we could get on into things, I would like to ask that if you guys are new to the channel and you do end up enjoying today's video, that you please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, please make sure that you do leave a like on today's video. It would help us out a ton. And if you would like to follow me on Twitter, please do so at Notorious FNTSY. So without further ado, let's do a nice deep dive into my third overall pick strategy in a 12-team league. And then about halfway into the video, we're going to be pivoting into a mock draft where I show off what I will be doing from a third overall pick as if it was a real draft. So before we get into things as well, I make this note in every single draft strategy video. Please make sure when you go into the draft not to lock yourself into any given strategy. Don't think I'm going into the draft, I need to do 0 running back, right? I don't want to draft a running back until the 6th, 7th round. Don't go into the draft thinking I need to take a quarterback in the 4th round. I need to take 2 running backs in the first 2 rounds. Don't do that, because then you are going to be locking yourself out of any value. You want to be adjusting your draft strategy as the draft goes along. Now, I will be talking about what my strategy hopes to be going into the draft, but I don't want you to lock yourself into any given strategy because things change in the draft. You might think that you want a quarterback in the 5th round, but in the first 4 rounds before you get to pick, 8 quarterbacks have been selected. Is that likely to happen? Of course not. But there are going to be leagues where people are quarterback crazy. So make sure you are able to pivot and adjust and don't put yourself inside of any box prior to your draft. So let's get into it. The first thing we're going to be talking about here is going to be looking at Yahoo Fantrax, FFC, and Sleeper ADP all averaged together and figuring out what I'm looking to do at the beginning of my fantasy football draft from the 3rd overall spot, as well as some guys that I'm looking to target later on in the draft. So the first 2 picks right now, according to the combined ADP of Yahoo Fantrax, FFC, and Sleeper, are Jonathan Taylor and Austin Eckler. Now, do I agree that Austin Eckler should be the number 2 pick? A couple of weeks ago, I did. I really did think Austin Eckler should be the number 2 pick, but at the end of the day, Christian McCaffrey at this point is making a strong, there's some strong reason to believe that Christian McCaffrey could be the number 1 running back. If he's able to stay healthy, I think he could easily be the number 1 running back. So at number 3, if McCaffrey is available, I am smash drafting McCaffrey. But if McCaffrey isn't there, the 3rd pick is where I start thinking about maybe I do want to draft a wide receiver. Maybe I want Cooper Kupp or Justin Jefferson, or you could just go with Austin Eckler there if McCaffrey's already been taken. But to me, I want to go ahead and get a strong running back that can bolster my team. And this allows me to pivot throughout the draft. Maybe now if I go Christian McCaffrey at number 3, I can go hero running back, meaning I draft McCaffrey, then I start hammering it on wide receiver, tight end, quarterback. And then I have that hero running back, Christian McCaffrey, as the kind of staple point of my roster. And then you're just kind of rotating guys into the running back 2 spot. Or I can go robust running back or do a couple of different strategies. So I don't want to necessarily lock myself into anything with my first pick. So we go through McCaffrey. After that, according to ADP, we would see Derrick Henry, Cooper Kupp, Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, Najee Harris, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, 9-inch Nicholas Chubb, Travis Kelce, DeAndre Swift, Javonte Williams, CeeDee Lamb, Alvin Kamara, Deebo Samuel, Ron Jones, Tyreek Hill, and then we're back up on the board. According to ADP at this pick, the pick at pick number 22 would be Josh Allen. I think you are a certified fool if you draft a quarterback in the first 3, 4 rounds. I think right when it hits round number 5, I'm fine taking a quarterback. But earlier than that, I think it's a mistake. So for me, Josh Allen would not be the pick, and I would look to either go tight end, running back, or wide receiver. I think Mark Andrews is a perfectly acceptable pick at pick number 22, so we will go that way and select a tight end that I think could be the number 1 tight end in all of fantasy football. I understand last year that when Lamar Jackson got hurt is when Mark Andrews really started to flourish, but I don't think that Mark Andrews is going to suck when Lamar Jackson is healthy, right? If anything, he can only get better and build upon what he did last year. So I like Andrews a ton. So after Andrews would be Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley, Leonard Fournette, Mike Evans. So we start off the draft with 1 running back, 1 tight end. And then here is where the running backs start to get very risky. We see guys like David Montgomery go after pick 27, Ezekiel Elliott, Cam Akers, James Conner, Antonio Gibson, Josh Jacobs. This range starts to get dangerous. So I want to get ahead of the danger zone here and take a running back before things go poor. Now, this isn't going to be a hero running back draft strategy because we're going to take a second running back in the 3rd round, but if James Conner wasn't here, I would 100% select AJ Brown or T. Higgins or Keenan Allen. But for me, I'm going to go with James Conner. I am one of the biggest fans of James Conner this season. I understand that last year, the reason why he was so dominant in fantasy football was because he scored a million fucking touchdowns, right? And can we project him to do that again? Probably not. But what we can expect is a significant kind of pump up of his target volume because Chase Edmonds has been pushed to Miami with the Dolphins. And I do believe that James Conner is the clear number one running back in this backfield. Sure, they have other players behind him like Benjamin, but I really do think that when James Conner is healthy, he's going to be the lead back on this team. So I'm very excited about James Conner. And then looking into our fourth round pick, we then enter the range of guys like Darren Waller, Breece Hall, Travis Etienne, Lamar Jackson, DJ Moore. Since we already have two running backs, if you want to really bolster your running back core, you can go ahead and draft Etienne or Breece Hall here. And if you do that, you should not be drafting another running back till the very end of the draft. I'm not going to do that, but if you're a Breece Hall fan, I'm not the biggest Breece Hall fan. I think he's a great player. I'm just a little bit nervous about what Michael Carter's, I almost said Michael Gallup, Michael Carter's kind of role is going to be in this offense. Could Michael Carter potentially siphon away enough targets to where Breece Hall ends up being a bust? Potentially. So I'm a little bit nervous. Etienne with James Robinson back. I'm definitely not fading away from Etienne to where I think he's like a horrible pick, but I'm getting a little bit more nervous. So I would just go wide receiver, best receiver available, which in my opinion is DJ Moore. And then since the 46th pick is so close to the 51st pick, we'll do that pick as well. And at that range, we got J.K. Dobbins, Joe Shiesty, Mike Williams, Amari Cooper, Damian Harris, Kyler Murray, A.J. Dillon, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. At this range, the running backs have basically fallen off the edge of the earth. At this point, you're just selecting a running back to try to catch up to the other people that already drafted running backs, and you are reaching heavily in my opinion, on where these guys should be drafted. So I would just go with best receiver available. You could either go Mike Williams. If Watson, right now, it's looking like it's going to be more than 6 games. If he gets, say, 9 games, 12 games, I'm really worried about Amari Cooper, so I'm kind of just out on him at this point. To me, the pick would either be Jerry Jeudy, Chris Godwin, Cortland Sutton, Brandon Cooks, any of those guys. I like Cortland Sutton the best, though, out of that grouping. So now looking later on into the draft, we did the first couple of rounds. Now we're going to look super deep into the end of the draft. Let's say pick 100 and on. So one of our later picks here is at pick number 99, which is our round number 9 selection. So in that range, we got guys like Ramondre Stevenson, Robert Woods, Trey Lance. If you don't draft a quarterback, I honestly think that Trey Lance is a smash pick. I understand that Trey Lance has not looked very good in training camp. There's reports that he's had some bad days over the last couple of days, but at the end of the day, I still think the upside is there with the amount of rushing upside he has. So I'm in on Trey Lance. And then looking at some other players around this range, at pick 118, Darrell Henderson to me is a smash pick. There's a lot of talks about, even from their head coach, Sean McVay, that they believe that they have 2 starting running backs, Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson. And that makes me very excited about Henderson. Same thing with Nyheim Hines at pick 123. If you don't go running back early, I really think Nyheim Hines could be a humongous play this season. There's a lot of buzz out of camp that we're going to be seeing a lot of Nyheim Hines and Jonathan Taylor on the field at the exact same time. And we could be seeing a significant boost in usage by Nyheim Hines this season. I also like guys in redraft for some reason. MVS is a 8th round pick, a 9th round pick in a lot of these best ball drafts that I'm doing, like on our sponsor today's video, Underdog. But in redraft, he goes really late. I like MVS a ton. I like guys like Kenneth Gainwell, guys like Devontae Parker, who are late round picks. And then when you get all the way to the end of the draft, if you're looking for your last round pick, a player that I am starting to get very, 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 very excited about are the 2 wide receivers of the Indianapolis Colts, that being Paris Campbell, as well as Alec Pierce. There's been positive buzz out of training camp for both of them. It does appear that Campbell is the number 2 guy there, but obviously things could change by the time the season starts in early September. So now we're going to go ahead and pivot into the mock draft section of today's video so you guys can be seeing what I believe I would actually do if I was up at pick number 3 in a real draft, with the simulation obviously happening around us. When we were doing that kind of practice thought process just before, there is no crazy picks, right? No one's taken someone crazy ahead of ADP, which will happen in your real fantasy drafts as well as in these mock drafts. So let's go ahead and get into things. The first pick of the draft is Jonathan Taylor, followed by Christian McCaffrey. And this puts us in a situation where we aren't able to get McCaffrey. And that's okay, because I already told you guys that I wasn't 100% sure that McCaffrey would make it to the 103 in a lot of leagues. unless the two people ahead of you have already been burned by Christian McCaffrey in the past and they're just done with McCaffrey. There's a couple of players like that in these drafts, especially early on. McCaffrey, some people are just fucking done with him. They've drafted him in the past, they burned him, they're done with him. Saquon Barkley, running back of the Giants, banged up 2 years in a row. People have drafted him. Saquon has taken a metaphorical shit on their chest. They do not want to draft Saquon again. Am I as holding that grudge against them? No, that's why I'm fine drafting them. But some people do hold that grudge. So at this pick here, to me, it's either Eckler or Kupp, really a pick, or Justin Jefferson, depending which wide receiver you like more. For this simulation here, we're going to go with Austin Eckler. I like Austin Eckler a ton. I really do believe that even with Isaiah Spiller there, that Austin Eckler is the clear lead back on this team, and that Justin Herbert, the pervert, loves to dump the ball off to Austin Eckler. So I'm very confident in him going into this season. And I think people just for some reason are getting lower on Eckler for absolutely zero reason, because nothing has really changed in the offseason that would make you believe that Eckler is a worse pick than last year. If anything, he might be a better pick because the offensive line is better. So I like Eckler a ton. After Eckler, we see Derrick Henry, followed by Dalvin Cook, Najee Harris, Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, Travis Kelce, DeAndre Swift, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, Joe Mixon, Saquon Barkley, Stephon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, Nick Chubb. Then we see Alvin Kamara, Javonte Williams, Tyreek Hill, and Deebo Samuel. Now, in fantasy football drafts, I have been seeing Mark Andrews get a lot of steam. Kelce is basically cemented in the 8 to 12 range inside the first round. If Kelce falls to you at the 201, I think you have to just take him because of the upside he has. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about what we're going to do at the 210. And I do like Mark Andrews a ton. For me, this pick is between Aaron Jones, Mark Andrews, Leonard Fournette, and Mike Evans. Some people are starting to get a little bit nervous about Mr. Mike Evans because of the fact that, he got banged up with the hammy issue. If you play fantasy football for a while, Mike Evans is the king of the hammy in the preseason. He always messes his hammy up a little bit, but he'll be fine. But now Godwin seems like he's going to be more healthy than people thought. They bring in Julio. People are starting to get worried about Mike Evans, but I'll let them be worried, and maybe he'll fall to us at the 3-3. So we're just going to go with Mark Andrews. Again, I am very confident that Mark Andrews is going to have an excellent year in Baltimore this year. He has the upside to be the number one tight end. And when you're in a 14, a 16 team league, I'm not as likely to draft a tight end early, but in a 12-team league, I'm very excited to get a guy like Andrews. And if I'm being honest with you, I think Kyle Pitts is a reach at the 301. After Mark Andrews comes Josh Allen, Aaron Jones, Kyle Pitts, and Mike Evans. We're back up on the board here. Looking at wide receiver, we've got guys like A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen, Higgins, Deontay Johnson. So for me, while I do like these wide receivers, there is a clear fall off at the running back by the time we get back to pick at the 410. So I'm just going to go with running back. I like Leonard Fournette a ton. I understand he showed up to OTAs fat as fuck, Nick. And yeah, he was, but he slimmed down. He's just fine. And if I'm being honest with you, if you're worried about the weight he was in May, that's just a little bit silly, if I'm being honest with you. So after Uncle Lenny comes A.J. Brown, Ezekiel Elliott, Keenan Allen, David Montgomery, Patty Mahomes, James Conner, Higgins, Cam Akers, Breece Hall, George Kittle, Terry McLaurin, Justin Herbert, the pervert, Travis Etienne, Josh Jacobs, DK Metcalf, Deontay Johnson, DJ Moore, and Michael Pittman Jr. And it seems like Pittman is going to continue to get even more steam. I wouldn't be surprised if he is an early fourth round pick by the time you guys are drafting in late August or early September. We got our two running backs. You can go running back again here, but this range is, again, this is just a range of running back where you're just chasing upside and there's really no safety to any of these guys, except for maybe J.K. Dobbins if he's able to get healthy. All these other picks are just egregious inside of the 4th, 5th round. So we're just going to go with wide receiver. I think it's fine to go quarterback in the 5th round with our next pick if someone falls to us. But here in the 4th round, I definitely want to be going ahead and securing a bunch of wide receivers since we don't have any yet. So it's really a pick your poison here. I like Waddle. I like Sutton. I think Sutton has a lot more upside than Waddle because Waddle's the clear number 2. I think Sutton's the clear number 1, but I still think Waddle's a good play in Miami. After Sutton, we see Mike Williams, Lamar Jackson, Jalen waddled away, waddle, till the very next day, Darren Waller. So we're back up on the board here again. We already have a tight end, so we don't even have to worry about reaching up and taking a guy like Schultz or a guy like Knox a little bit too early. So here, we're just going to continue with the wide receiver brigade. If you want, I'm fine taking a quarterback here like Kyler Murray, but I've noticed in these sleeper drafts, I've noticed that in non-underdog best ball drafts, people aren't as confident in Hurts. So Hurts has sometimes been falling into the deep sixth round. So I'd rather just wait on quarterback here and select another wide receiver, especially since this is a three wide receiver league. You can employ this strategy though in a three wide receiver league or in a two wide receiver league here. I think Jerry Jeudy's a fine pick, but we already have Sutton, so I'm not trying to stack up the whole Denver Broncos offense in a redraft league. So we're gonna go with Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson, the number two wide receiver in LA for the Rams. Obviously, last year in Chicago was a complete and utter fucking dumpster fire of a season for Allen Robinson, but I think he bounces back this year. There was worries about Mr. Matthew Stafford's arm. His elbow was giving him, there's reports of tendonitis, but it doesn't appear that's the case. Sean McVay says he slept well a couple nights ago, knowing that Stafford's going to be just fine. So after Robinson comes Antonio Gibson, Elijah Mitchell, Joe Shiesty, Hollywood Brown, Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, Brandon Cooks, Kyler Murray, the short king, the king of Call of Duty, J.K. Dobbins, Juju Smith-Schuster, Chris Godwin, A.J. Dillon, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Miles Sanders, Dalton Schultz, Damian Harris, Adam Thielen, and then one pick before we get to go at the 609, Jalen Hurts gets selected. That hurts. Get it? That hurts because they took Jalen Hurts from us. Very fucking funny, I know. So we're back up on the board here again, not really looking for running backs. We could have went quarterback, but again, Hurts is gone, so I don't think you should be taking Dak Prescott or Russ that close to Jalen Hurts. Maybe in the 7th round, but not that close. So I'm going to just go with wide receiver. I love Darnell Mooney, but man, oh man, are things looking bad in Chicago. It looks like fucking Justin Fields is Stevie Wonder in the pocket, and he can't see. It's bad. It's bad. Like, Darnell Mooney's like wide open in these camp videos. And oh man, it looks bad. So I'm starting to sour myself slightly on him. Michael Thomas, I've taken him in all these draft videos because I just think he's a scream value in the 6th round with the upside. So we're going to go with Drake London of the Atlanta Falcons, rookie out of USC. I think we see Drake London potentially have a splash rookie year, even with Marcus Mariota as the starting quarterback of the Falcons. After that, we see Darnell Mooney, Rashad Bateman, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Gabe Davis, who gets picked in the 4th round of best ball drafts, but the 7th round here in a redraft league. The reason why he goes so high in best ball drafts is because of the stacking potential with the Buffalo Bills offense. So we're back up on the board here. If we drafted another wide receiver earlier instead of Andrews or instead of Fournette, or I guess instead of Eckler as well, then I would have been fine drafting D-Hop. But in the position we're in right here, we want these receivers to play every single game, and then we need a receiver to be our flex. So Hopkins is going to be missing the first couple games of the season because of his PED suspension. So that's not as exciting, right? Because you're not going to be able to play him in your flex. So I'm going to go with Michael Thomas here. Again, I've really talked about this guy a lot recently on these draft strategy videos where I really do believe that Michael Thomas is in a very good situation. All the reports out of camp are that he's perfectly fine. I understand we haven't seen him play in 2 years, so that's the risk you're taking. But the upside is a top 5 wide receiver in fantasy football in the 7th round, 6th round of some drafts. He definitely fell in this one, but in the 6th round, 7th round, to me, it's just a no-brainer to take him. And if he screws you over, he was your 7th round pick. So it's not that bad. After Michael Thomas comes TJ Hawkinson, Dallas Goedert, Tony Pollard, DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Smith, Dak Prescott, Kenneth Walker, Cordero Patterson, Elijah Moore. The 8th round begins with Russell Wilson, Kareem Hunt, Treylon Burks, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson. A nice triple, three Wookiee wide receivers, like they're fucking Chewbacca. 3 rookie wide receivers in a row. Tampa Bay, Tom Brady, Chase Edmonds, Matthew Stafford, Brandon Ayuk. Now, I still don't understand why Trey Lance is getting taken so late. I understand. Well, technically, I do understand, right? Because people get nervous when it comes to a quarterback they haven't really seen produce at the NFL level and a guy that doesn't have the strongest arm. He was drafted because of he's the archetype of a player that can rush the ball a bunch. And sure, I understand why you might be nervous in real life. If you're a 49ers fan, maybe Trey Lance isn't the guy. But we saw Jalen Hurts not be that great last year, and Jalen Hurts was very, very, very viable in fantasy football. So to me, Trey Lance is a smash pick in the 8th round. If he ends up sucking, then it is what it is because you can just cut him and pick up another quarterback. After Lance comes Devin Singletary, Hunter Renfrow, Rashad Penny, and Roberto Woods, Mr. Bobby Trees. Looking at the running back position here, we do only have 2, so I'm fine taking another one here, especially a guy that I like as much as Melvin Gordon. Now, the issue with Melvin Gordon is that every single report is wildly different. Right here, Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon could see 70-30 split. But then you see other reports where it is 55-45 in favor of Williams, or some people say it's 60-40. There is a very wide range of outcomes here. But if Melvin Gordon is the 40% guy, and he's playable every week. And even if he gets plummeted down, he is a handcuff where if Williams was to get hurt, Melvin Gordon, there's an argument you can make where Gordon's a top 5 fantasy running back. So to me, that's why I like him so much here in the ninth round. So after Melvin Gordon comes Tyler Lockett in my pocket skirt, Zach Ertz, Mr. Ron Rodgers, the ayahuasca king, James Cook, Dawson Knox one time if you are with me, Alan Lazard, Ramondre Stevenson, Russell Gage, Chase Claypool, Alexander Madison, Kadarius Toney, Christian Kirk, who just got banged up as I'm recording this, but it appears he's going to be fine. Something to monitor, though. Pat Fryermuth, Michael Gallup, Mike Likiamagasicki, Michael Carter, Sky with 2 Wise more, and Derek Carr. Before we can get on into the next pick, I would like to give you guys a quick word from our friends and our sponsors today's video. They're right below me. I hope you can't see me pointing here. They're right below me down there, Underdog Fantasy, which is the single best place to play fantasy football this summer. The Best Ball Mania 3 tournament has $10 million in total prize money. $2 million to first, and then they have the Puppy 3 tournament, which is going to close soon because there's so many people entering it. $1 million total prize pool. All you got to do is draft your team, and that's it. There's no waivers. You don't have to sit up on Tuesday night. There's no trades, no in-season management. Underdog will automatically give you the best score at the end of each week of the season. Last year's Best Ball Mania champion drafted their team in June, so there is no need to wait till late August, early September like you might for your redraft league. Click on the link in the video description down below and use promo code Stokastic, Stokastic, down below to get a first match deposit bonus of up to $100 with Underdog Fantasy, and you'll receive our Best Ball Draft Kit for 100% free. That's a combined $170 of value with a first-time deposit of $100. So make sure you guys do check that out. I'm on there all the time. I have drafted with you guys before. We do drafts every single Monday on the Best Ball channel on Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you guys do check that out. So back on into the video. Our next pick here, we are up at the 10-10. You can kind of do anything at this point. With the fact that we have a quarterback, I am convinced is going to be good. Now, I'm not saying it's a lock he's going to be good. I just think he's going to be good. And the fact that we drafted Mark Andrews, there is no fucking need to draft a backup quarterback or tight end. So we're really just hammering in on running back and wide receiver through the last couple of picks of the draft. We still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 picks left. So we're going to go running back or wide receiver with every single one of these picks. Obviously, if you're not as comfortable with Trey Lance as I am, take another quarterback, but that's not kind of how I'm sitting here. We have went with upside in all these videos, right? I've been really hunting for upside. I think the upside here is MVS. This time we're going to go a little bit safe, wrap 2 condoms around our roster, and go with Tyler Boyd, wide receiver of the Bengals. I understand that T. Higgins as well as Jamar Chase are the clear studs in this offense, but Tyler Boyd is getting drafted way too late considering he could easily finish as a top 24 receiver in 2022 fantasy football. After Boyd comes my boy Tua Tagovailoa. His middle name is Donnie, so I think we should start calling him Donnie now. Tua Tagovailoa, Ronald Jones, Isaiah Spiller, and Dameon Pierce, one of my favorite late round running backs. So we're just going to keep hopping on the wide receiver train here unless I see a running back that I really like, and I do. Nyheim Hines, we talked about him before. It seems as though this offense wants to be using Nyheim Hines as well as Jonathan Taylor at the same time, as well as giving more opportunities to Nyheim Hines throughout the season. So that's why I went Nyheim Hines over a guy like MVS, who I really like as well. After Nyheim Hines comes Christian Watson, MVS, Cole Kmet, James Robinson, Justin Fields. You like that, Kirk Cousins, Jameson Williams, Hunter Henry, Deshaun Watson, J.D. McKissick, Tyler Algier, Trevor Lawrence, Rashad White, Jarvis Landry, Darrell Henderson, Kenny G. Spot Galladay, George Pickens, and Albert Akuwumbanam. Albert O. I still can't pronounce his name. I've tried so many times. I've watched videos on how to do it. Albert O. And if he's a great player this year, we're definitely going to have to learn how to say his name correctly. But they'll say it more on TV this year, hopefully, because they'll see more looks. I'm a big fan of Devontae Parker, but I still think you should be drafting some Jacoby Myers because in reality, I think Myers is a better player. I just think that Devontae Parker is going to be the touchdown recipient there because he's more of the big-bodied wide receiver in New England. After Myers comes Mack, Irv Smith, Rondale Moore, Jahan Dotson. We're back up on the board here with our final 3 picks. Going to go receiver again, hunting for strictly upside here, Jalen Tolbert. Jalen Tolbert is either going to be the biggest miss ever because everyone's going to keep steaming him up, or he is going to, you're going to look like a genius if you draft him if Gallup misses some serious time, and he is the clear number 2 receiver in Dallas with Mr. Dak Prescott. After Tolbert comes Kenneth Gainwell, Matty Ice, Baby, Devontae Parker, Raheem Mostert, David Njoku, Julio Jones, Khalil Herbert, DJ Chark, DJ Chark, McCole Hardman, Noah Fant, Mark Ingram, Tyler Higbee, Tyrion Davis Price, Gus Bus Edwards, Odell Beckham Jr., Alec Pierce, Jamal Williams, and Chuba Hubbard. How many running backs we got here? One, two, three, four. We got four, so we should probably get another one here with one of our last picks here. Like Sony Michelle, but I like him more in best ball because I think he's gonna score a bunch of touchdowns. So we're just gonna go with Zamir White again. I think Kenyon Drake is still getting underappreciated, but I think Zamir White's probably gonna end up being the number 2 guy in Vegas. After Zamir White comes Hayden Hurst, Mac Jones, Darrell Williams, or Damian Williams, I should say. Sorry about that. And then Brian Robinson. So we're going receiver to close out the draft here. Man, oh man, it is sad that Tim Patrick got hurt because Tim Patrick could have been an excellent late round pick. We're going to go with Jamison Crowder. His ADP has plummeted directly down the toilet because people have been getting hyped about the other wide receiver there, whose name is Isaiah McKenzie. But that was because Isaiah McKenzie was practicing and Jamison Crowder was banged up. Now, Jamison Crowder back in practice could be the number 3 receiver in Buffalo. So I like him as a late round dart throw. After Crowder comes Deonta Foreman, Chris Evans, Tim Patrick, which is obviously a terrible pick, famous Jameis Winston, Sony Michelle, KJ Osborne, Gerald Everett, and the MILF Hunter, Zach Wilson. Final pick, Mr. Irrelevant, Von Jefferson. So to recap our roster here, we got Austin Eckler, Mark Andrews, Leonard Fournette, Cortland Sutton, Allen Robinson, Drake London, Michael Thomas, Trey Lance, Melvin Gordon, Tyler Boyd, Naheem Hines, Jacoby Myers, Jalen Tolbert, Zamir White, and Jamison Crowder. Thank you guys all so much for watching today's video. Please make sure that you do leave a like as well as hit that subscribe button down below if you are new. I hope you did end up enjoying today's video. Make sure you use promo code Stokastic when you sign up on Underdog Fantasy. I love you guys all so much. Hope you have a great rest of your guys' day. And let me know down below in the comment section which picks you liked, which picks you didn't like from the 3rd overall spot. I love you guys so much. I hope you have a great rest of your guys' day. And as always, good boy.